All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining. We have another session today. With this session here, what we're going to do is this is in preparation for flying the Concorde FXP version 2 for X-plane. This aircraft right here requires a tool that's needed for the proper navigation, which is called the CIVI, system, in order to use proper navigation. So what we're going to do for this session here, it's not going to be a full flight. This flight is only as a preparedness for a flight. We're just going to focus on programming that will being recognized with the CIVI system, and also programming as well too, preparation for a flight. So let's take without further ado, folks, let's dive right in and let's look at a couple things here. So here's the Concorde FX version 2 through X-plane. I was very hesitant in getting this when it first came out. There's been a lot of changes to this platform here for this payware. I tell you, they made a lot of improvements with this version 2. So with this version 2. I tell you, I've been practicing it here regularly the last couple weeks or so in preparation for streaming for flights going forward. So it takes a lot to learn, a lot of systems that need to be looked at, as you can tell here. Let me open up a screen here so you can see a lot of systems here with this Concorde that covers down is understanding all these systems. Not to the depth of so much detail, but at least know functionally how these systems work. So again, the next session will be more towards a dark and cold startup, and then the session after that will be a full flight. We're going to start off here with, again, just getting familiar with the navigation and programs of the CIVI system, and we're going to go from there. So let's take a look at the CIVI system here. So here's the instruction manual for when you do purchase this CIVI navigation system. On X-plane, you'll see here it's only like $15 right now, which is not bad. I think it's a pretty good price for it. Now, the flight itself has a built-in. Let me show you that real quick. It already has a built-in system. I can demonstrate to you real quick here. And the built-in system for Concorde is right here. This is how it looks. Right. So that in comparison to this plug-in purchase here. So why did I go with the plug-in? It's much more user-friendly with the plug-in. I can also use this on other flights too that require this CIVI navigation system. So I've heard some good things about the plug-in in itself, and I think it's much more intuitive than actually using the system itself in the flight. I had no issues with this system here. Haven't really dove in depth, but it just seems like the purchased one is much more user-friendly in its sense of different features that's included with this. So definitely recommend it. So this is what we'll be going over today on this here on this Concorde. So let's get in, folks, and let's a couple things we have to do before we even get started is that we got to put some power to this aircraft, some general power, and then from there the CIVI system has a built-in battery of itself that lasts for like 15 minutes even after the power of the aircraft shut down. But let's go ahead and turn the power on, get active, and let's go from there. So let's get the externals going first. Okay, let's get let me see, aircraft, doors and ground unit. There we go. It's ground unit and air conditioning unit. Let's fire those up. Let's take an external look at it. Okay, there we are, plugged in. Yeah, so you should be having power now to the aircraft. All right, so from here, let's go back and let's get our battery systems turned on here. Yeah, batteries turned on. Let's get a little bit of lights on our panel. So lights turned up on the panel there. Instruments light, a little bit of floodlight. and the flood on the panel as well too. Good. So from here, let's head back over to this piece. You can see how the systems, once you hit that battery, how everything has a self-testing mode. Things are swiveling and swerving. So all the instruments are just going through a test phase there, and then you see everything stop. So let's turn some lights here onto the dash as well. Instruments. Okay. And right now, as you see, the built-in CIVA is already activated with power. We're going to open up a plug-in here shortly. These lights on, these lights, just for purposes of this review, we can go ahead and turn on the lights over here as well, just to brighten it up a little bit. Yeah, that'll work, and we'll put something there. Okay, I think that'll do. And let's look at our overhead here, our overhead panel. There's our overhead panel here, folks. Turn some lighting on here as well. That's for the center dash with a floodlight and the roof lights. Some glare, lighting. Okay. We'll just turn all the lighting on. That's good. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and open up our plugin, folks. Let's get right in our plugin. Okay, so here's how she looks when you open it up. I do have power to it now at this point. We're gonna go through some instructions here, step by step, in the programming. When you download your plan through SimBrief, and I'll share that with you as well too. If you go through SimBrief by Navigraph to establish your flight plans, from here you have the option to also click over and use and download your plan to SkyVector. So through SkyVector, it'll allow you to. Matter of fact, let's step through it real quick here. All right, so my plan has already been established. We'll open up SkyVector. From SkyVector, what you want to do is go to Navlog. From Navlog, this is what we want to use, folks. We want to use this here log to establish the programming of our Navi system, our CIVA system. So, all right. So let's look at a couple things. Let's look at our SID first from our departure. And let's just see what we're going to start plugging into this here unit. So let's pull up our maps here. Okay, and Jacob 4 departure. So Jacob 4 departure. As you see, we're going to be if we were, as far as the plan, we'll be taking off via runway, I think 30 at 320 degrees. Yep, 320 degrees on 30, turning towards Riggins. Make sure to cross Riggins above 3,000. So with these here waypoints here, Riggins, Jacob, Grimm, Suki, Swan. Let's go back to here, Riggins. Okay, so we got Riggins already established here, right? Based on the waypoint printout from SkyVector. The north coordinates and west coordinates is what we want to program into the CIVA navigation system. Okay, so this, and keep in mind, folks, we're going to walk through the instructions as well too, and which through these instructions it'll clearly explain to you as far as how to set this up, how to establish it. We only can put in 9 waypoints at a given time. Then you get to start back over to 1. 0 is always a placeholder for your current establishment for your navigation. So before we go further into this is what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and turn power on to the internal systems as standby. So we're going to turn the CIVA on standby, and let's go back to our engineering panel here, and let's also turn our INS on standby. We got 3 INSs to establish here. INS 1 standby, 2 standby, and 3 on standby. Okay, and this is how we want to hold it for now until we get some more settings done on our on the system here. So this knob here selects your waypoints that you want to select. Okay, and this from and to with 0, 1 will show you from 0 and you're going to your first waypoint. Okay, so oops, that'd be better if I go ahead and switch on over for you here. Let me do that for you. So as you can see, what I was just covering down on here, folks, this here waypoint here is what I was talking about on the CIVA in itself. Okay, and engineering section here, back in the back here, is where we turned the INS on for all three, which was here. Number 1, standby. Number 2, standby. And number 3, standby. And then we turned our CIVA to standby as well too. Okay, so that's what was discussed while we was actually on the other screen. And no biggie. But anyhow, the selection here that you see where my cursor is showing you the designated waypoint as to what you want to program, what you want established. Okay, and a 0 and 1 is from your primary nav location to the first waypoint. Okay, so let's set up our current position right now. Now let me flip back over here to our other screen back here on our instructions here, and let's look at that real quick in regards to how that's set up. So the instructions always start off with general instructions. Pops up, give you a description as far as each of the areas here on the nav system in itself. Okay, keyboard entry use and all that. We're not going to go over all this here stuff here. I'm talking about waypoints. We're going to do a hard warm up here, which we just started from a cold start here. Okay. This here explains a little more detail as far as what these here, the DSRTK and STS stands for here, folks. This is a breakout here. This is how your navigation will indicate the status, which is 0 here, right? The status, and this 95 here will slowly diminish down to 0 once it's fully implemented as far as the navigation tool, which of course is. Now, the further you are from the equator, the longer it'll take for this here to update, right? So once we put in our coordinates, you'll see how it's going to start updating. And then, well, in other words, aligning. It'll start aligning, and once it's finished aligning, then we can go ahead and set our nav system on to be recognized. Okay, all right. So that's a little bit of information based on that. Entries or what have you. We're not going to really go in depth as far as this. We're just going to go very general as far as setting this up. Okay, let's get back to our flight here. So back to our flight. And how we're going to set up our location as to where we are, right? We got to set that up first before we start going through the tool of establishing waypoints. All right. So let's pull that up, folks. I mean, we're going to go back over. We're going to flip a couple times back and forth to a couple scenes, but let's find out coordinates as to where this flight is sitting right now, so that we can program 0 right now to our current location. All right, so let's flip back over. Let's go over to the next screen here and take a look at it. So parking gate coordinates is what we want to look at. We are at gate D5. D5 is where we're located. So let's look at coordinates for D5. D5 right here, as you can see, is north 3856.8, west 07727.0. That is our coordinates for where we are on the map. So let's go ahead and make that happen. Let's go ahead and put these coordinates in, and I'll show you how we're going to put that in. So let's get back to our next screen here. We got to put that in before, again, folks, before we even start our waypoints, we have to put that coordinate in for our current location. All right. And it has to be established as 0, not as your first waypoint. Okay. So let's set up for 0. All right. Let's set up for 0 here. All right, so let's take now this DSRTK STS again. Well, I've already explained this, but we're gonna change this to waypoint now, so we can put in that coordinate. And then after we start with the alignment, we're gonna go back here and watch how this starts aligning. Okay, but let's put in our coordinate first as far as where our current location is. All right, so in order to do this here, folks, we have to tell the system as to we're going to put in our first coordinate here, whether it's going to be north, west, east, or south. Right, as you see here, our first one is going to be north. North is what we're going to put in here, not south. So you want to select 2 first. Select 2. Boom. You see how that changed from north, right? Click in here, and now you can use your keyboard. Right. We saw on our map here that the coordinates for the position for D5 is north 3856.8. So let's go ahead and put that in, folks. Let's go ahead and put that in for our first layer of our coordinate there. All right. So D5, we're gonna go north, as we've already selected for number 2. Right, and we already got the keyboard enabled as well too. It's gonna be 38. 38. Let's see, 38568. Okay, so when you put that in for your first coordinate, north 3856.8, as far as your north leg of your coordinate, insert. Okay, next we're gonna put in our next half of our coordinate, which is gonna be the west. West 0s. Let me go ahead and click so you can see as well too. Here we go. So west 07727 right here. Okay, that's what we want to put in as well too. And again, because we are located in Concorde's D5. So let's go ahead and put that coordinate in as well. All right. So it's going to be west. As you see, it's already west. So we can go ahead and indicate west as anyway, just to indicate that. All right. West 077. Oops. And I did 88. If you ever need to clear it, folks, simply hit clear. Okay. And let's go back at it. 07727. There we go. West 077270. Okay, so our full coordinate is in. I haven't inserted yet, but let's explain this. We got north. Coordinate north 3856.8 degrees. West 07727.0 degrees. Insert. Again, our position is now identified, and now we can now allow the aircraft to start doing an alignment, so it can actually upload the nav system in itself and program it just based on the location of the aircraft. Okay, and then we can start keying in our waypoints. Right. So this is how we get started, folks. Let's go ahead and let's go back to our engineering panel here in the back. And now what we want to do is we want to put everything now on align. We want things to align, but let's go ahead and bring up our plug-in again. Let's bring our plug-in back on here. Let's see, there's a plug-in. All right, now let's go ahead and go to the DSRT/STS module here. All right, let's place our first INI to align. Boom. See, it's showing ready. The flash is ready. It's not ready yet. When it's green, it's ready. Right now, it's programming itself. Let's go to the second one here. Put a second one on align as well. Here we go. And the third, put a third on alignment. Yeah, there we go. So all 3 of them now are showing that they're aligning. Now we have to turn our CIVA system into alignment as well too. So there you go. Right here, click align, and jointly now the aircraft is now aligning itself based on the current location of the coordinate that we designate put in. After this, folks, after this goes to 0 and it gets down to 0, we can then start putting in our waypoints for our navigation. So while that's doing, let's go ahead and get a little bonus here. Let's just go through a couple steps as far as starting up the coated dark startup, and while this is setting up, and then we'll come back to this area and we'll start putting waypoints, and then we'll conclude the this first session at that point. So let's close this up. Let's get back to in captain's seat here, and let's turn on a few things here. So let's see. All right, we'll skip all this here, straight to engine startup, cockpit preparation. Let's go to cockpit preparation here. Ground is already on, batteries on. Let's put the equipment bay cooling system on. Okay, so that's back here in the back, folks. Most of the operational things are located here in the engineering panel here in the back. So let's set up the equipment bay cooling panel. All right, and that is right here. Equipment bay cooling. Let's put these switches into let's see, let's just see what they want us to put it into. Check set. All right, so let's put it on auto, and these here are on for the rear extract. Okay, we're gonna go down to the oxygen panel, and we're gonna set the oxygen, turn the oxygen panel on, so we can get oxygen in the cabin, especially when we start reaching those high altitudes. All right, drain mask heaters. Let's get back in the main seat. Oh, let's do overhead, and let's look at those drain master heaters. We want to turn those on, all three. Okay. All right. And the air data computers. Air data computers are located at the lower level of your control panel board here. Okay, so it's going to be right here. Right here is where air data computers are located. Turn those on. Bridge equipment, skip that. No smoking sign. Let's go ahead and turn on the no smoking here for passengers. All right, let's go ahead and get the seatbelts on too. All right, there we go. That's the seatbelts on. Okay, next screen here. Oxygen check. Okay, flight control inverters. Augment systems as well too. That's all across here, folks. Just turn all of our systems on, activate them. Okay, all right. RAD system here. This RAD system is on RAD, not INS. We want it for RAD, okay? And also for the instrument transfers as well too. There's all these knobs over here in this corner here. As far as all the instruments to be transferred and be used over here to the left is where we're going to be operating. So we want those all to the left. All right, so we capture down on that. Altimeter. Let's just throw something in there. Altimeter is located right here, folks. Altimeter, okay, if it's, I don't know, 335 or whatever, 3035 or 3026, that's how you change the altimeter. We'll go over here to the next one, over here on the next side too, and let's go ahead and just make sure that altimeter match 3035, whatever we have on the first one, okay? All right, so we'll step through that. Let's see, so we also have the audio. Let's get down to our audio tool here. The audio tool down low right here, where your VHF audio is. So you can speak to air traffic control if you happen to have X-Pilot, whatever tool that you're using. Okay, all right, so we have that on, VHF audio. Nav system radios are on, brakes are on. All right, nav lights. Okay, let's go up top and turn on our nav lights. Okay, and these instructions, I must say, is they're really good on the instructions as far as how they set it up for us users here. All right, so we have the nav lights on. Throttle masters from main tool to alternative. So let's go ahead and put our master. Turn that back there. I'm sorry. All right, turn this master throttle on alternative. We're gonna put that on right now. Okay, and ground check yellow. Let me show you where that's at. So that's ground check yellow is this section here. Right here, the top corner here. Right there. Ground, hydraulics and all that, check yellow and off as well too. All right, so fuel heaters. Let's get our fuel heaters on auto. Fuel heaters are located right here. Fuel heaters auto. Okay, start warming up that fuel. Engine rec valves as well. Oh, that should be on shut, which it is. Secondary air drives. Turn all these on auto. It's a lot starting this flight up, folks. I definitely recommend use the checklist because there's a lot of pieces to the pie here when it comes to establishing proper setup of this flight. Okay, so it looks like our INS is still establishing. Looks like it's still setting itself. Still working. Let's look at our CIVA and see how we're coming along here with that. Look at the difference here. You notice how it was like 95, what have you? Now look at it, it's 45. Nope, 35. Its system is literally updating itself completely based on the coordinates we put in where our destination currently is being held right now. And again, that's that's what's needed in order for us to establish right navigation and prior to put in a flight plan so the aircraft will understand based on the coordinates that's being put in. So let this keep working itself to 3.5. For the time being, while that's going, let me give you another additional bonus. Let's step a couple notches further here. While that's setting up, let's get engines going. Let's do that. Well, before that, let's look at let's at the fuel flow bug too. I want to show you where that's at. Let's go on the front end here and let's look at the fuel flow bug. So that's this piece here. I use this here, folks, this bug for departure, so I can make sure I do not exceed beyond 13 degrees on my departure. Setting that up. And so that's good to have that limitation in place too. Anti-collision as well too. That's located right next to your nav. Up top there, anti-collision right there. All right. Engine feed pumps. Let's go there. Let's go to engine feed pumps. Engine feed pumps are located right here in the primary place where all your fuel is controlled and maintained. Okay, here's your fuel tanks, folks. You got fuel tanks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 and 6, 5A, 7A. There's 9, 10, and 11. So when you're looking at your fuel, folks, and if you want to break out as far as knowing where your engineer has to trim the fuel to and where your fuel's actually currently in what tanks, throughout the entire flight, fuel's going to keep moving around this aircraft because of when you go supersonic, you go in 60,000 feet. Borderline space, the fuel needs to be trimmed to certain parts of the aircraft so it can get a good, efficient momentum to maintain the high level of Mach. If that makes sense to folks, most folks that should make sense to. But so that's the reason why the Concorde allows fuel to transfer in different areas as well too. Also, for us, you're so high that that you generate a lot of heat too. So compartmental adjustments based on fuel is important. So this fuel page is pretty much a setup fuel page. We'll go through that on our next session during our flight. But again, it's just a bonus while our CIVA is updating procedures taken to start off the flight here. So we'll go through this on the next video even in more depth. But so here's the flight management plan here. As far as setting up your distance, where to, how much fuel you want to put in each stage of the climb to supersonic. Going back here to aircraft page here, this shows you about, you look at your center of gravity. Look at that as far as where your center of gravity is. This is where you put your doors and open your doors and your ground units. And here's this page here, folks. The engineering tool I showed you in the back with all your tanks. This is where it's at, folks, right here. Look at that. Tank 1, 2, 3, and 4. These tanks will continue operating through the entire flight. When we load this bad boy up with fuel, like let's just do that as an example. Let's just load it up for fuel now so you can see what I'm talking about here. When we load this up with fuel, let's go back here to flight preparation, fuel management. Let's see here. If we want to let's just apply, let's just load it up. Let's load it up. see, I'm adding more nautical miles to the supersonic portion of flight. That's the climb. That's the taxi. So you can add more fuel to whichever leg you want to expand. Right now, we can go a full distance of 3,707 nautical miles in range. All right, we apply that, and by applying that, we'll go back and we'll see that the fuel now has jumped. Look at that. So it's literally fueling up now, as you can see. The previous version now, I don't think it actually demonstrated the tank's fueling. I think it was just you hit the button and it just population is just full. So we do have alignment here. So this is suited for the trim as well too. This is the proper amount, I guess you say, for a maximum amount of distance that we've flown. So you see all tanks getting filled up. While it's trimming, it's gonna start trimming from the exteriors. 5A, 7A, probably gonna go empty first. And it's gonna be going down to tanks 5, 6, 7, and 8. 5, 6, 7, 8, then it's gonna be trimming to the remainder tanks. And then the centerpiece is also associated with the trimming of the entire tank system in this whole. So operationally, folks, that's how it looks. We'll come back out of this here and go back to the engineer portion here. So these fuel tanks here is what's represented based on what you just saw on the map. Okay, so from here, what we wanted to do next thing on our instructions is filling up the. Is actually completing out the engine fuel pumps, turning those on, activating them. Okay, where do we activate them at? It's right here. Here we go. Turn them on right across here. Activates all your fuel pumps. Okay. Okay. All fuel pumps now activated. And I'm gonna start up 2 engines for you. We're not gonna start up all 4. Let's start up 2 engines, and we'll probably be ready to program our system at that point. So let's at least get 2 engines going here. All right. So we got the fuel pumps going, and here's where we can start calibrating the start of our engines. Okay. So our bleeds are up top here, air bleeds. Turn them all on. Turn all the air bleeds on, all 4 of them, right? And whichever engine we want to start first, we want to start the center. We're going to start 3-2 and then exterior 4-1. Okay, 3-2 and then 4-1. All right. The out of the 4 engines, we want to start the center engines first, and then exterior engines last. Okay. So engine 3, let's turn on some cross bleed here for engine 3. We want to come down to our INS section here. Look what we got too, folks. It looks like it's ready to go on us here. So we'll get back to the INS here as far as our programming. But I at least want to give you this bonus as far as the engine start. So we'll come back to INS here in a second. Looks like it's all ready to go. All right, so what we want to do is that we want to do the relight ignition for engine number 3 right here. Boom. Got it. Let's go for our front panel here, and let's look at engine 3 start to turn up. Once it hit 12, let's go back here. We missed one vital piece here. Okay, is that we have to make sure. There we go. There you go. And then now the bleed is actually on. And the cross is open. Okay, so we're good there. Let's make sure our external, look what's off here. When we set that fuel, look what took off on us. Our exterior power there. So we need to put our exterior power back on, folks. Let's close this up real quick, turn our exterior power on. That's the only way we can get the engine started. Got to have our ground power going, right? So there's a ground power back established. When we load up the fuel, it disengaged that. So we need that engaged. That's important. All right. So let's get back to our engine piece here. All right. All right. So we want to open our bleeds. Okay. First engine we want to start is going to be engine number 3. Did you see that trigger point right there? That's what we want to see. Go down our INS and let's turn it on. Let's look at our panel on the front end. Now there it is. The engine 3 is building up. Once it gets over 12, you can go over top, overhead, and put some fuel into that. Push some fuel into that level 3 right here. Now fuel is going to start going into the channels for engine number 3, and watch this spool up to around 70, 64, 65 or so. Well, we'll watch that as that spool up there, right? You can hear the engines as well too. 24, it's igniting. Engine number 3 is igniting, look at that. Okay, it's coming online. Okay, here it goes. Okay. Perfect, good. All right, so that looks good, folks. Now let's get back to our engineering panel here. All right, a couple pieces we got to do here now, folks. Once that first engine is on, what we want to do now is turn on our condition valve. Get that going. Just air in there, and then slide over to the hydraulic management system. Now, since we got power going for one engine, we can now start turning on our hydraulic systems there. So start with number 3. 3's tied in with 4. Let's put that loop together there, okay? So this is how we turn on 3, all right? And we turn on 3 right here as far as the generator. Twice, and the generator kicks on board, right? Slide over here back to camera number 1. At this point, we have full power with engine number 3 that's allowing power to generate the hydraulic system as well too. At that point, we can go ahead and shut off the cross bleed. Boom. Engine number 3 is active and going. We're good to go there. All right, next one, we're just gonna do one more. We'll do one more engine here. Engine number 2. We'll come on down to the INS here. Fire up engine number 2 right here. Check out our front panel. Watch it come online here, and just watch it come up online. There is 12. Now let's jump up top there, and let's put some fuel into engine number 2 right here, and let's watch it turn up to 64. Okay, here we go, good. And let's watch her spool up there, and then we'll go back to the management tool, the management section panel on the back here. Okay, that's the sound that we want to hear. And let's dive back to our engineering tool back here. Let's go up top. Okay, and let's turn on our condition valve. Perfect. Okay, and let's now go over to the hydraulic management tool here. And let's turn on number 2 right here. Number 2 right here as far as the generator as well. Okay. And hop back over, you see, to camera number 1. So then at this point, we're all set. We got 100% power on number 2. We can go ahead and shut off the cross bleed. So folks, go outside and check here. We got 2 engines going here. We're good to go. We no longer need the externals here. We can shut off the ground AC and the GPU. Now, since we got enough power here from the engines to operate the aircraft, so we're good there. All right, so let's get back to our CIVA system, folks. Boom, 5. We are good. We are ready for programming. All right, programming of this here of this system here. Let's turn it online. Let's get back here to our engineering panel, down to INS, and they're in a ready mode. So let's slide them over to nav. Nav for 1, nav for 2, and nav for 3. There's a beacon there, and we're gonna go nav on our systems. We are all set, folks. We're all set. We're good. Now let's start programming our waypoints. All right. All right. So we're gonna switch over here to our next screen here. So we can look at our waypoints that we're gonna establish. So we have Jacob 4 is our departure SID, and we want to. We'll do the headers as far as our departure for 320 degrees. But we want to start with Riggins, Jacob, Gim, or what have you, all the way through. So let's look at our nav log here, and let's start programming those waypoints. All right. So waypoint number one. I'm gonna slide this over here so we can see it for the aircraft. Right. Here we go. Waypoint number 1, okay, is Riggins, and I'm gonna make that a little larger for you all to see. We only can put 9 in at a time, and then it starts back over to 1. Very easy to manage. So Riggins, number 1. Okay, let's go. We're gonna go north. Was it 39095? Okay, insert west 077184. Insert waypoint number 1 set. Waypoint number 2, Jacoby's north 39081. Insert west 077103. Insert waypoint 2 is set. Waypoint 3, Grim. Let's go north. 39064. Insert west 076593. Insert waypoint number 4, Suki north 39071. Insert west 076313. Oops. Anytime you make a mistake, folks, just simply hit clear. 076313. Okay, perfect. Insert. Boom. Waypoint number 4, Swan north 39090. Insert west 0761. Oh shoot! One more time here, folks. There we go. All right, 076137. Insert waypoint number 6, Bros north 39114. Insert west 075528. Insert 7, Sticky north 39114. Insert west 075459. Insert 8. We've got VOR odd. Okay, north 39168. Insert west 07518. Shoot. All right, another mistake there. Clear it. Okay, 07518. Insert. And last but not least, number 9 is Davies. We gotta get north 39553. Insert west 074538. All right, folks, we have our first 9 here, all the way up to Davies. So let's look at that on our map here, all the way up to Davies. Let's see. All right, so we have, here's a stretch out. We have the Swan. Let's see, we got all the way up to Davies up here. So we got nine waypoints already put in. Now, as we're flying, right, and we let me get back to our other screen here, folks, so you can see what I'm talking about here. So when we get back to flying here, and then we take off, and we have auto throttle 1, flight director 1, autopilot 1 on. It had the INS select. It's going to follow the coordinates, right? It's going to follow those coordinates that we have set based on our flight plan, right? Now, while we're flying, folks, we can adjust what if we were given instructions to, hey, November 1979, go direct to odd, right? And if odd is waypoint 3, then we would do a change here, right here. We would do a change. If odd is waypoint 3, then we're gonna do a change from 1 to 3. Okay, so we'll do change here, and it'd be 1 to 3. Boom, insert. Now that's gonna take us direct to odd if odd is the 3rd waypoint here. So that's how we go direct, folks. All right, from and to. Right now, when we get to the our 9th waypoint, it's gonna start over. It's gonna go 9-1. It's not gonna go 9-0. It's gonna go from 9 to 1. Remember, 0 is our coordinate setter, right? 1, it will be our next round of waypoints. So if you've already went through waypoint 1, by the time you hit waypoint 9, you can go in anytime, folks, and start your waypoints from 1 to 8. Your next set of waypoints from 1 to 8. Okay, so after 9, as example, if your next waypoint is bays, then while you're flying, just go ahead and go straight here, just like we programmed, and start 1 all the way up to 8. Don't do 9 because you're flying waypoint 9 right now. Once you clear 9, you can add the next waypoint there as such. So, folks, that's how we set up the waypoints and set up the CIVA system here. I think it's a really great tool to use. It's going to make things so much easier for the Concorde as far as operationally. So I definitely encourage download the software for this CIVA interface here. Use it. It's going to be very handy. The instructions goes in much more detail, in which you can start going through making updates to your DME as well too. So it's very user friendly. We didn't go over in depth in regards to anything associated with this area here. We got distance and time to the next waypoint, right? So that's like 99 minutes, what have you, to get to that waypoint. So there's current winds, what have you, position, tracking, heading, all that, tracking position. So there's a lot of things the instructions will explain to you as far as what all is into that tool. This purpose of this here session was just clearly just to break out the waypoints. My follow-on streams will be associated with flights, with this here tool being implemented into our flight. So with this here one here, it should go in parallel with the follow-on streams that will be performing for this here flight, this aircraft. All right, so I think, folks, I think that's going to be a wrap for this session here, as far as understanding and knowing the nav system associated with the CIVA interface for the Concorde FXP. Okay, folks. So thanks for joining, and the next video will be of a actual flight, and where you can start implementing some of these here tools that this tool here is being discussed for this one. Okay, so folks, thanks for joining, and have a good one.